Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my fellow Americans, and everyone else. Welcome back to the Jack Rose Show. Got a little bit of a header for this one. Texas Senate Bill 8 is hot garbage. Unfortunately, so is every article that I've read about it, and 99.9% of all of the arguments that I've seen, because people haven't actually read the fucking bill. That happens far too often. Thus the shirt. The song remains not the same. Different topic, different bill, same refrain though, same tune. Here's a bill. It's contentious. It's controversial. Some people are heavily in favor of it. Some people are very much against it. In this particular case, strange as it may seem to some, I am very heavily against it. My reasons for being against it are very simple. I'll get into that here in a few minutes. But like most other bills of its nature, you've got multiple different sources giving you a story about the bill without providing any direct link to the bill itself. I'm looking at you, NPR and Texas Tribune, as well as providing rhetoric for contemplation of potential misinformation, disingenuous reporting, outright sophistry. It's bad enough on its own, honestly, that you don't have to fucking lie about it. You don't have to speculate about things that have nothing to do with the bill. You don't have to use sophistry to make the argument. The bill is just bad enough on its own. What this bill does is preserve every exception for legal abortion after 20 weeks and shorten the time period to 6 weeks. So it effectively bans obstetricians who perform abortions from performing abortions past 6 weeks with specific exceptions. Okay? If you want more information than that, read the actual bill and read the section of Texas Health and Safety Code, Title II, Section 170, that applies. Okay? Title II, Section 170 of the Texas Health and Safety Code has been in place since 2005. It describes all of the penalties with the exception of one, and all of the exceptions for no abortions after 6 weeks under SB 8. There is no provision for any fine or incarceration or criminal penalty against any woman who has an abortion under this bill. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist. It's not in the bill. It's not in the Texas Health and Safety Code either. The only penalties are misdemeanor, punishable by a fine not to exceed $10,000 for a doctor who has performed an abortion in violation of the statutes of the bill. Outside of the exceptions, possibly without the basic requirements that a doctor must have in order to be able to perform these functions, period. Very quickly, I'm going to outline my position, and it's very simple: safe, legal, and rare. It's what the Democrats, including Hillary Clinton, who I happen to despise, were saying back in the 90s when the Republicans were saying no abortion. Period. No abortion. I don't agree with that. Safe? Yes. For the mother, for the doctor, can't really say for the potential baby or human life. Safe for the mother. That's important. Legal. It's kind of important. We don't want to penalize mothers who have very few options, especially in the specific cases in which we do have legal exceptions up until this bill, even after 20 weeks. Now, I think 20 weeks is that's a bit late. I have a kid. I was very much involved in my wife's pregnancy. I went to all of the doctor's appointments. I saw all of the sonograms. We tracked all that stuff with the baby apps and the whole 9 yards. We had very in-depth conversations with all of her doctors every step along the way. I'm not going to get into my wife's medical history, but she's got a history with this particular topic. Let's just leave it at that. And me and her have had very deep conversations about this particular topic. We happen to agree on pretty much everything I'm going to present here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's not my place to say you should or shouldn't do a certain thing. I believe in personal responsibility. I believe in men and women keeping their pants on, so to speak, if they are not prepared to deal with the very real possibility that sex could equal pregnancy. There's a reason that at 39 years old, I only have one kid. Okay? There's a reason for that. Part of it is, am I prepared to have a kid? Am I prepared to have another kid? Am I ready for those obligations? I have a bit of a history with this particular topic myself, going, over 20 years back. Long fucking time ago. So I'm a firm believer in safe, legal, and rare. These things should be rare. Okay, you shouldn't be fucking if you're not prepared to have a kid. End of fucking story. I don't care about whether or not you're using contraception. I don't care about whether or not it's all that stuff is beside the point. Okay, be fucking responsible. If you're not prepared for the consequences, don't engage in the action. If you are not prepared for the consequences, I'm going to repeat this for the people in the back. Do not engage in the action, because the condom could break, your contraceptive pill could fail, your contraceptive implant could be 2.5 years old out of the 3-year lifespan and may have reduced functionality. It's entirely possible. Okay. These are things that can happen. Now I've been seeing, the bumper sticker argument of, well, vasectomies prevent pregnancies, so why don't we regulate that? Well, you know what is actually more effective than vasectomies is castration. That's a lot more effective than vasectomies. Vasectomies are not 100%, especially over time. Why not advocate just outright castration? Because it's fucking ridiculous. That's why not. Okay. Why not advocate for, mandatory hysterectomies? Because it's fucking ridiculous. That's why not. All right. This bill is garbage on its face. And the reason is because 6 weeks is not fucking long enough. There are many women who do not even know that they are pregnant at 6 weeks. And that pregnancy may not be viable. That pregnancy may lead to health complications. That pregnancy may be the result of bad things. Now, those exceptions exist within the law. I don't fall with any of the exceptions that are in the law, but I don't want this kid anyway. That's not within the law. And at 6 weeks, you may not even know you're fucking pregnant. Now, I'm not a fan of abortion for those purposes, but it's not my fucking place to say, because I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what your personal maturity level is. I don't know what your personal finance level is. Unfortunately, if you're enough of a fucking idiot that I'm going to be the guy who goes, yeah, you probably shouldn't have kids in the first fucking place, well, you're probably going to be the kind of dumbass that says I need to have 12 of them. It is what it is. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I have my opinions about the morality of abortion. I have my opinions about the way that we discuss it. I don't like the terms pro-life or pro-choice because they're bullshit. Long story short. I'm not going to fucking tell you what to do. I do think that 20 weeks is too late. That's a fucking baby. It's not fully developed, but it's a fucking baby at 20 weeks. At 6 weeks, is it a baby yet? No, it's not a fucking baby yet. Is it a human life? Yes. It's a human life. It's human. It's not going to develop into a fucking tree. It's not going to develop into a Buick. If allowed to develop, it will develop into a human baby. Is it a human baby yet? No. Okay. Is it necessarily a viable pregnancy at that period? It may be too early to tell. There may be women, or there may be cases. Let me put it this way. There may be cases where the life of the child, the life of the woman, or the lives of both will be at risk in this pregnancy. And actually 6 weeks is not only too early for the woman to even necessarily know that she's pregnant, but also too early to tell whether or not that pregnancy could put their lives in jeopardy. And so you might assume that, nah, you'll be fine, and then run into that situation. Thankfully, the exception is still there. Thankfully, that if you run into that situation at 10 weeks, the doctor can say, we have an exception for this, and you can still get an abortion if necessary. I feel for the mother in that situation. And if the father is not a piece of shit and is actually actively involved and supportive, I feel for him as well in that situation. But there's an exception there. And under no circumstance can the mother be charged with a crime under Texas law. Under no circumstance is there a penalty against the mother. There is no fine. There is no jail time. There is no criminal or civil charge. What there is now under SB 8, and I can understand why it's in there, but I still disagree with it on principle, is the ability for any non-state actor, private citizen, to sue a doctor who performs an abortion outside of the exceptions beyond 6 weeks. I disagree with it on principle because any non-state actor, it may be none of your fucking business. And you shouldn't get to sue random doctor because he performed an abortion on random woman, period. And that's what's allowed. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the time frame. I think it's too fucking soon. I don't agree with the carve out for being able to sue the doctor by anyone because I think that's fucking ridiculous and excessive. Okay. I do think that if a woman goes behind her partner's back and has an abortion without having the conversation, that her partner should be able to say, yo, that's fucked up. And get some kind of remedy, not necessarily against the doctor, but from the state for that having been a thing. How does that work? I don't know. And that's why I'm not going to put too much thought into it, because that's not where we're at, and I really don't think that that's even why this particular provision exists. I honestly think it's more along the lines of, you have a grandmother, you have her daughter, and then you have the potential baby, right? You have this human life, because that's what it is. Biologically, it's alive. It's a life. It is human. It's not going to be anything else, okay? Let's not sugarcoat it and fucking kid ourselves. We have to be serious about this because it's a serious topic. And no, this isn't to shame anyone. This is, let's stay fucking grounded in the reality of the situation, because it is grave and it is terrible and it is tragic that anybody has to be in this situation. So we should at least treat it seriously and call it what it is and be as honest as we can be about it. So you have grandma and you have potential mommy and you have potential baby, and mommy goes and gets this taken care of, whether she's 17 or 27. At 8 weeks, the doctor does it. Whether there's an exception or not, okay, let's assume there's not. What can happen? What are the penalties? Grandma can sue the doctor for performing the procedure. Why is it any of her fucking business? That's ridiculous. But I have a feeling that's why that's in there. The doctor can face charges. He can face civil fines. He can face a misdemeanor charge. We're not talking about a felony. We're not talking about a total life changer. And a fine not to exceed $10,000. That's going to hurt some doctors. But it's not going to completely fucking break the bank, destroy their savings, and end their fucking careers. Okay? Now, do I think it should be there at all? I don't know. I'm on the fence about that. But I do think this bill on its face is hot garbage. Again, like I said, my wife and I have had multiple conversations about this particular topic. We've had a deep conversation about this particular issue and this law. Maybe 10 weeks. Getting into 12 weeks, getting into that second trimester, that's dicey territory. Neither she nor I agree with that. Maybe 10 weeks, maybe 8 to 10. You've got enough time to know for certain that you actually are pregnant. You've got enough time to process the situation and make a determination on whether or not this is a pregnancy you can handle, whether or not this is a pregnancy you can keep, whether or not there are going to be health issues, whether or not you could potentially put the baby up for adoption or have the kid, all that stuff, okay? There's enough time there to be able to make rational, responsible decisions and be a fucking adult. At 6 weeks, that's just too fucking fast. I understand the intent of the law. We're trying to protect lives. Okay, Roger. But you're going to get some fucking pushback. Deservedly so, because that's too fucking short. Simple as. I oppose the law as it is written, because of the reasons that I've stated in this video. I also oppose the shitty arguments and sophistry that I've seen that are based on pure fucking fiction and people's feelings who have not actually read this law or the relevant sections of the Texas Health and Safety Code that it amends. If you haven't read the fucking law, go read the goddamn law. If you haven't read Title II, Section 170, Texas Health and Safety Code, go fucking read it. Read the two of them, understand what's going on, and then we can have a hell of a conversation about it. But until that's the case, it's like assault weapon bans. Whether I'm for it or against it, I'm against the shitty arguments that are based in fucking fiction. Okay? There is no forced birth extremism going on here. There's no penalty for the mother. At all. Period. The penalties are for the doctors. And they're actually relatively light. Now, I don't agree with the law on its face, but at least fucking be honest about what it is. We don't need the excessive hyperbole. We don't need the sophistry. We don't need misinformation. We need honesty. I've pretty much said about everything I need to say about this. This video has been at least twice as long as I would have liked it to have been. I don't think I can condense it down any further. Otherwise, I'd go through it about 5 more times and make the attempt. But that's not going to happen. And some people are going to be shocked that I oppose this law. Some people are going to be shocked that I oppose their shitty arguments. It is what it is. Okay. Yes, every life is important. But safe, legal, and rare, that's a concept I agree with for multiple reasons. Okay. I'm not a hardliner on either side. I hate the terms pro-life and pro-choice because they are not honest. And the people who use them typically aren't about them. It is what it is. So that's my position on SB 8. That is the up and down of the situation as I see it. If you want to argue about the law, read the fucking law. Don't read the NPR article about the law that doesn't link to the law. Don't read the speculation and opinion about a law that the writer may not even have read. Read the law itself. See what's actually in there. Then make your arguments accordingly. But if you're not even going to bother to do that, why should I bother to engage with you on the topic? Even if I agree in principle, I actually have a duty to screw with you about it and probably troll you a little bit. Just saying. I'm going to leave that where it's at. SB 8's hot garbage. That doesn't mean that hot garbage arguments are going to be accepted. All right. I'm out. That's all. Until next time, have a good one.